started Archbishop Shaw in Ole Miss before playing 4 seasons for his hometown New Orleans Saints from 1987 through 1990 through 14 touchdown passes. Serves as host of the John Fourcade Show on WHNO TV 20 Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Of course, the Saints will host the Atlanta Falcons Thursday night, 7:25, national television in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Let's give a warm Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation Quarterback Club welcome to John Fourcade. John?
Thank you, Ken. Didn't expect all the cameras here today. I knew I was supposed to be here a couple of weeks ago, but then I realized I got beauty here today, and it ain't for me. But one thing I want to say, the LSU coach already left. He did leave out that LSU has to play Ole Miss in a couple of weeks, too. He said Alabama, Arkansas, and A&M. Forgot the Ole Miss team. So y'all heard it here first now. That will be a loss for the Tigers. But other than that, I'm supposed to talk about the Saints, and I thought Jen was on the roll for a second there. She wasn't going to leave me much more to talk about, but it's been a rough year so far, and we all didn't expect this before the season. And when I talked to some of my co-hosts and guys I deal with in the media department, we're all a little shocked at the performance you have seen so far this season from the New Orleans Saints in certain areas. When you got an offense averaging a little bit more than 17 points a game, and that's pretty horrible for an offensive team that was picked to be one of the better offenses in the league with Drew Brees back there. And for you guys out there listening, he's hurt, and there's no doubt about it. You can tell by the way he throws the football, doesn't throw the deep ball anymore. Even though I have 2 bad shoulders, I might be able to still throw deeper than what he's done right now. He is injured. And with the way the offensive line has protected him or not protected him, he's got 50 sacks already, if I'm not mistaken. He's on pace for 50 sacks this year, is what they're saying. So that's where some of the problem presents itself on the offensive side of football. Your offensive line has struggled. Drew's had some injuries. He struggled a little bit. Don't have a receiving core that we all would wish we had in the past. Now you have Colston going down with an injury on the offensive side of the ball. He wasn't having a great season, but you don't want to lose anybody. Then the next guy's got to step up. The running game hasn't been there offensively for the Saints. We pretty much know if they can't run the football, you have to depend on Drew throwing in the 40s. It's going to be a long season. You flip it over to the defensive side of football, and Jen made a comment about Rob Ryan, and I'm not sold that it's all his fault. There's an old saying, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. And they don't really have the players on the defensive side of football, I feel, to make this team better on defense. They are young. She's right, Jen. They have 25 young new players on this football squad. But who goes and gets these players? It's the coaching staff. And who goes and evaluates the talent? It's the scouting department. That's where they're lacking, and that's where they've been hurting for the years. Defensively, Rob Ryan's got to work with what he's got out there. Granted, they don't have any pass rush, no sacks at all whatsoever up front. Secondary is somewhat young in some areas and somewhat old in other areas. Some guys aren't getting the job done, and they're getting paid a lot of money out there. I think the linebacking core is getting better. From an overall standpoint, this is an important football game this Thursday night. The Saints play very well in primetime games. We all know that over the years. But what team's going to show up this Thursday night? Is the team that we know can play the primetime games, or the team that's been struggling to 1-4 this season? It's going to be tough for them. They're playing against a real good team, the Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons are coming in 5-0. It's been a long time since the Saints played the Falcons here, and basically the Saints are 5 games out of first place. So it's going to be brutal to see what happens this Thursday night. But with that being said, anything can happen on any given day. A lot of teams are in this league, and a lot of guys are winning that you don't expect to win, and we'll see what happens. But overall, Saints got to get a little bit healthier. Got to get some players to step up. I'll take any questions or anything about the Saints or anything that you want to talk about. Yes, sir.
What do you think about the rumors of Sean Payton and people trading draft picks for him and all these buy into that? Or?
That's, you know, you talk about the rumors about Sean Payton with Miami and Indianapolis. Well, first and foremost, you know, the Colts haven't fired their coach as of today, as far as I know. Jen, you might know more about that. I don't think they fired their coach. And what happens if the Colts go off and do well? As far as Miami situation, you know from years ago, Bill Parcells has been a Miami Dolphin guy for a while, and he has contacts, and he's really close with the owner of Miami. That could be somewhat of a story out there. You know, I know just recently Sean Payton denied it and said, I wanted to be here. Well, that's what you got to say. You can't come out and say, well, I'm looking forward to going to Miami. We'll see what happens, but, you know, he's got a contract here for 2017. If you can't, you know, you got to buy him out, you got to trade for him, or he has to either quit, resign, or you got to fire him for him to go somewhere else. So a lot of things are in play right here. Do I think he's going to go? My personal belief, you know, I really don't know this. I mean, if the season goes bad really quick, it could happen. I mean, the Saints might need some draft picks. So if you want to get rid of him and get another coach, but it shouldn't come about, it shouldn't affect what the players do, because you don't really go out there and worry about what your coach's status is, you worry about your status. So we'll see what happens with the Sean Payton situation in the next few weeks. Anybody else? Got one over here.
With the defense being so bad, what do you think about the trade for Hicks for a second string, third string tight end? I mean, was Hicks that bad? I mean, he seemed to, I know he was lazy and he kind of played when he wanted to, but with that kind of talent, just to get rid of him when your defense is that bad with no pass rush, a little bizarre early in the season.
Yeah, I thought it was a strange trade to trade a starter defensive lineman for a third-team tight end who, you know, can't run out of his shadow. I don't understand that move, but it might have been a money move to get, you know, to maybe fire somebody up, say, hey, see everybody, anybody can be traded. They need to have some kind of a spark, and that's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I mean, there's tight ends out there you can go pick up somewhere, but if he's not playing well enough, it comes to a point right now you got to do something with some of these players. And I thought some other moves would be made when they freed him up and grabbed some money, and we'll see what happens. But you know, in the next few weeks, pretty much going to find out and determine if they're going to go after any more players. I don't think so, unless they're free agent street players. I don't see any more trades being made. Any other questions?
One more question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What do you think about Drew restructuring his contract so late in his career? Why didn't he do this a couple of years ago? You know, when you see Brady and Manning and some of those other guys doing it, he had to know that the Saints were strapped cash-wise.
Well, a couple of years ago, he had, you know, you remember a couple of years ago, he took a lot less money to play the starting quarterback after winning a Super Bowl. Other guys were getting more money than him. I think the scenario is that he felt that, you know, we were going to get better. We will get some other players. It didn't work out that way. He restructured his contract now to help him somewhat for this season. And that's where I thought, and other people thought, they would maybe go out and get some other players, but it didn't happen. Now, come next season, they're going to probably have to restructure it again and extend him a couple of years, because if you cut him, he's worth $10 million to the cap on top of what Junior Galette's cap. That's $22 million right there with two players. So you'll see them probably extend his contract and restructure it again. But there's other areas that needs to go out for next season. They got to try to find money some way, somehow. One more, right? Yes, sir.
I was just going to ask you, when Tom Benson's getting older, when it comes time to pull the trigger on Sean Payton, I mean, do you think that, you know, that could be delayed much because he's so starstruck from the Super Bowl years to not be as aggressive on that, you know, like any owner at that age?
Well, I mean, Super Bowl year is long gone. We're in 2015 right now. But Tom Benson, I believe other people are dealing with the organization now. He might have some say-so, but I believe there's a lot of other people in that organization that are going to make these decisions. I think there's a lot of things going on behind closed doors. To see what happens down the road here with you know, Peyton and his team in general. So you better ask some of the news media guys. They probably got a lot more sneaking, you know, answers for that than I do. They don't tell the ex-football players much for the Saints. You know, we can't even get tickets nowadays, so we don't deal with them that much. And they sure not going to tell me anything about the business end of it. Thank y'all for having me, and I appreciate it. And good luck, Kenny, and wherever else you got coming. I know you got a nice celebrity coming up here next. I thought the TVs were for me, but I understand.